Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from around the world. Welcome to Web3 Warriors, episode 124, featuring Ehsan and Georg from Canat.io, which is a decentralized internet platform that's really aiming to give full ownership of your data to the users on the platform. So, we've often been talking about this concept of Web3 data ownership. And I think this is an interesting platform that's really looking at how that can become a reality. So welcome, Ehsan and Georg. Thank you for joining. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Really good.
Awesome.
And excited to have good questions and answer them, hopefully well.
Yeah. And you're joining from Germany, which is pretty cool. We've had a few guests from the European corner of the world for sure. And I think what you're building out and really trying to innovate is pretty interesting. And I know you're still kind of at the early part of the journey of building this out. And so I'm honored that you reached out and you're interested in chatting this through and really informing our audience and informing me about what is possible under this kind of umbrella of data sovereignty. So thanks again for joining. Welcome, everybody. I'm David Chroma. I go by Chrome in the Metaverse, and this is the Web3 Warriors podcast. Thank you to all of our listeners for sticking through with us and really providing your feedback. We really appreciate it. We are in a bit of a transition and evolution right now as the Web3 Warriors brand is focusing on branching out and creating a little bit more of news content. And we're reaching out to artists and creators and innovators and really trying to shake things up a little bit and not be your typical crypto podcast, right? And part of that is really trying to focus on impact over necessarily investing, right? And so data sovereignty is a topic that we're going to be touching on today a lot and really looking at in depth. And it is a topic that's come up on previous episodes, right? So we've spoken to specialists when it comes to crypto and AI and some of the identification and payment layers of AI and how the Web3 and blockchain and crypto plays an important role when it comes to that data. We've looked at it as far as gaming and social media and the idea that, there can be a new world where people actually understand how, whether it's gaming assets in a game or whether it's your actual data when you're scrolling through social media, with Web3 and with cryptocurrency, you can actually create a more sovereign type of platform where you actually understand how your data is being used and you have some level of ownership and say over how that data is being used. So it has been a recurring kind of topic on the show. And so today with Canat, I think it's a really interesting project to look at. As I mentioned at the top of the show, it's a little bit kind of still early in the phase of the project. So I think we are getting a nice kind of opportunity to kind of learn at the ground level and see what they're aiming for and, really see what's possible, I think. And so all that to say, this is not about necessarily converting everybody to jump on Canat tomorrow, but it's about really showing what's possible and really applauding Canat for taking the initiative to really pull something together that can make real impact and that can change the kind of conversation around data and what data looks like in the future. And hopefully we can get away from a lot of the way that data has been used up until now, right? So they say that they're really looking at combining the simplicity of Web 2 with the control of Web3. So I think that's a really cool concept. So with all of that, I think we'll jump into the interview here. Again, looking at that topic of data sovereignty as the big umbrella during this conversation. So with that, maybe before we jump into Canat and everything you're building out, Georg and Ehsan, maybe we can get a little bit of background as well, if that would be great. So maybe starting with you, Ehsan, what brought you to this project? What brought you to Web3 and crypto? And then we'll hand it over to Georg as well. So thank you again.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Maybe a little bit from my background. I'm coming from the automotive sector. I worked more than 15 years as a leading management position. I lead big projects like developing software architecture for the whole vehicle system, autonomous driving, infotainment systems, backend systems, where the customer or the vehicles store their data and share their health status and so on. So I did a lot. I managed big teams. The last big team I had were 3,000 people. So I'm really used to scale projects and also products. And yeah, working in a big automotive company is sometimes a little bit stressful in context that you don't have always the decision on your side. So you are a lot of you have a lot of committees and so on. They make the decision, and what the hardest point for me was when they say, okay, let's just stop the project without the customer saw it. It was a really hard full time for me. So I decided it's time to go out to make own projects, to be to make the own company grow and make a culture where everyone who wants to go forward and is hungry to make big things have a place. This was one motivation. The other motivation was in 2014, my first child was born. And with this moment, everyone in my family make picture and share them on WhatsApp and so on. And I always told them, please do not share it, do not post it on social media. The footprint of my poor child, of digital footprint, becomes bigger and bigger every minute. And one day, everyone knows who this poor child is and what she has done and how she looks like as a baby, naked baby, and so on. So it was a stressful time. Also for me, everyone complains, Ehsan, you are too critical, or you are too afraid, you have anxieties and so on. But at the end, when you know how the system works and how these big companies monetize this data, and also what happens in the darknet with data of childs and people, it's awful. And so in that time, also Bitcoin and blockchain was public. Yeah, everyone knows about, everyone talks about, and I like the fact that decentralization brings more freedom, but I saw the problem of control. On the one hand, we don't want to be controlled, but on the other hand, there are a lot of criminal activities that require some kind of mechanism that helps to secure people from this kind of criminalities. So I thought, okay, it's time to think about the system which is decentralized, but in some case safe. So in that context, safe, that the data belongs to the creator, to that person who creates the data and has the control, the power to control the data over lifetime, or the life cycle of this data. So that means when the times come and I don't want to share the data anymore, like a picture, then with one button click, it can be deleted on every platform where it's hosted. And with this idea, Kanat was born.
Nice.
And yeah, maybe I head over to Georg before I tell about
No,
where
that was
the
great
name
background.
comes from.
And I just wanted to connect with you on that aspect of children's pictures, right? And I think it's a really hard thing to balance, because on one hand, of course, you're proud of your kid, you want to celebrate, you want to show them off. But on the flip side, like anyone who actually knows, a lot of people don't know, unfortunately. But yeah, the way that data can be used, the way that footprint, for this child who has no choice over it themselves, starts to grow out, it is a little bit disturbing. And I've always been very, cautious about how much I share on Instagram, for example, for that reason. And I deleted the Facebook app completely, because when I realized how they're using our data, it's just like, no, I can't anymore. But I do still have Instagram, so I guess Meta's still got my stuff. So, but yeah, good point on that. And I feel that, I empathize with that a lot. So it's as a parent, I know where you're coming from. Georg, I'd love to hear a bit of your background and what brought you here.
Yeah, thank you, David. First of all, I want to return. It's an honor for us also to be here. So I feel really the purity of intention through your podcast, and I like your energy and your enthusiasm. So I've looked into a couple of episodes, and we haven't done any podcast before. So it's the first one. It's a great opportunity for us. Maybe also a great opportunity for you to show this product to the world for the first time. It will be maybe a little stamp of Kanat's history, looking back at this interview.
I'm honored. That's awesome.
Yes, so we feel really good to be here and excited. Cool. And regarding my background, I have a business background. I studied business and worked first for a Microsoft partner, did a Microsoft trainee program and worked there as a sales manager. And at one point, I changed my job to business consulting and project management. We did IT transformation, IT M&A projects, IT strategy projects, IT sourcing projects. And I was working there for a couple of years, I think in total 3.5 years. I was working in my latest position as a senior consulting. And back then it was, I think 2017, 2018, where I got in contact with crypto and the possibility blockchain can bring to this world. And I was developing this topic in our company because we were curious to explore what it can do, especially what can it do for in the B2B context. And back then we were founding a little entity in our company called the blockchain space together with a friend, and we were starting to do workshops with different companies. Back then we invited Stratus, an older project, maybe you still know it, or Stratus, I don't know how to pronounce it, from the UK, and we did customer workshops and we did webinars for our customers. So we're exploring the opportunities on the business side. And at one point, I left the company to decide to go in a different direction. I went on the pursuit for truth on a spiritual path and very much went into yoga and meditation over the last years, spending a lot of time in Thailand and Mexico, and also doing several projects on the side. And I've been always in contact with Ehsan because we are friends since 20 years. By now I live in Berlin, so we have a little bit of distance, but we have always been in contact wherever I've been. And I'm following his project and his career for already a long time, and also giving feedback, making connections here and there, introductions to my network. And there was always the question if I would join Kanat at one point, because the seed was already planted like many years ago. And there was always my condition to say, I'm only joining this project when you are in 100%. And as I always said, I'm in 100%. And I said, no, you're a top manager at the car company. Right. I need you also time-wise before I give the full commitment. And then last year, he lately said he fulfilled my commitment or my demand to leave this golden cage and this high position to really build his dream. And then we had a couple of conversations. At one point I said, okay, I will join. And I'm very happy to be here in my role. And it has been an exciting ride already. And yeah, I'm very much excited also for the future. I think Kanat has a great future. So things are lining up really beautifully.
Awesome. Well, that's a pretty sweet background. I think the fact that you're friends for 20 years, I think is going to help the project for sure, right? When you got those real genuine connections, that's always a good kind of foundational support, I would say. So that's amazing. All right. Without further ado, let's jump into Kanat a little bit here. So Ehsan, maybe you can give us a high level. We have on the website here, the main homepage. Kanat is QANAT.io. Definitely recommend everybody go check it out. There's a lot of interesting blog posts about data sovereignty and what you're working on. Very cool. And so on the main landing page, it says digital sovereignty by design, unbreakable, unstoppable, and unchained. And as I mentioned at the top, really looking at giving full ownership of the data in a decentralized ecosystem. So with that, Ehsan, tell us a little bit about the mission and vision and what's happening at Kanat.
All right. Yeah, I say it's sometimes hard to say it in one sentence, but let me highlight a little bit, for the audience.
For sure.
First of all, the vision is that we have the same freedom or the same usability like we used to in Web 2.0 ecosystem, that we have it also in the future with data ownership. Today, of course, Facebook and the other platforms are free for everyone, but at the background you pay with your data, right? And there's always a middleman who collect this data and resell it to other companies, and they make profit from it. Without this mechanism, everything what we use in Web 2.0 needs a price, right? Nothing is priceless. Everything has an energy consumption, the server, and so on. So our vision is that we build an ecosystem which is fully decentralized and in self-custodial manner. That means everything what you runs on your device, and there's no server required from any provider to conduct apps and services. And with the same convenience you have it today. So this is a big task because you always have to find the balance between decentralization and scalability, or private security, and performance. And what we describe in our white papers is the solution to this problem. And we find a way, and this is many years of research we did in other projects. I did a lot of research in university projects and so on. And the result of this is that we find a way to have a fully decentralized system which meets all the requirements you have in the Web 2.0 world. And the goal is that at the end, everyone who generates data is the owner of the data, and every app or services which is built on top of our product or ecosystem sticks to the data governance layer we support or we provide. That means in future, you don't have to create many accounts like you have it today. You need a Google account, you Microsoft account, and so on to consume or to use the applications. In future, you have one account. This is the WebX OS account, and with this account, you can use every kind of social media apps or any other apps that is launched in our ecosystem. Yeah. This is the bright vision.
And so, in that sense, on the WebX OS, which is kind of like your browser, essentially, right? How is it then screening all of that data? So like you're on the WebX, you're, let's say, using Twitter or X now it's called, and there is still the attempt to take data, right? So is it just giving very limited information that you approve, or what does that actually look like the mechanism to allow you to still have like the performance like you mentioned, but then also have the ownership?
Yeah. We are using I would say similar technology like BitTorrent in the past days.
Okay.
We are, of course, we're using the network storage power. That means every device that is on our ecosystem provides computing power on the one hand. But we all know that these nodes are not reliable. So they can be offline or online. So these are not equal to what we know, what we have in the server farms. Yeah, the big server farms which have many thousands of computers that running our data. So on the other hand, we have the possibility to onboard kind of operator nodes. These are professional nodes, which are a part of the decentralized network, but more professional. So the user can decide whether he takes a normal device to store their data on it, or they take operator nodes where they have more, I would say, more performance and less offline times, right? And so this is the idea that we have different roles that fulfill different requirements on the one hand. On the other hand, when you, example, you have a messenger and you send a message to your friend, first of all, what we are doing, we are building a peer-to-peer connection, which is fully encrypted. We have technologies like hole punching that helps to make a connection with another peer without getting blocked with the firewalls of each device, right? And when they send messages, they have a session key. With this session key, only these two peers can read and write the data. And every time when someone types a message, this message is tagged with a node ID. This is the ID of your device, and with this, the ownership is clear. So on the other hand, the receiver of the message also have a node with a node ID, And at the end, when I say, okay, I would like to delete all my messages, then the two nodes are communicating with each other. It's like an agent, yeah, which is working parallel to the user, and is completely independent of the user. And this ensures that our data governance is always fulfilled, no matter what kind of application or service you use, right?
Oh, okay. No, that's fascinating, and I think from what I gather, then, so to your point, you're relying kind of like BitTorrent style on the server power of each individual user who's set up their device to be a node on your network, essentially, and then you're saying you're adding additional what they call operator nodes that are going to be more reliably always on, so that your network is able to have kind of long-term viability, right? And not just relying on the random users and their nodes that they've set up, but you actually have like professional nodes or professional servers essentially that are connected to your network, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I think it's also important to understand that we are always trying to be really fully decentralized. Yeah, there can be some cases in the future where we have more operating nodes than regular nodes. Then maybe again a minority of people have the control of the system. This is not what we want to achieve.
Of course.
So therefore, we have a ratio: 25% of the whole network can be operator nodes. They also need a license to run an operator node, so they have to purchase the license and fulfill some requirements where we are looking at, and we will see we also make an audit and verification of the systems, and so there's a lot of proof steps to get an operator node license, and so therefore it's very important that this is always decentralized and no minority, even us, cannot control the system. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. That's an important piece of Web3, right? And I think it's always difficult at the beginning, right? Because you need that kind of network effect, right? So the fact that you've laid it out very clearly, up to 25% maximum of these operator nodes. When you talk about the registration and requirements, I imagine there's both kind of hardware and software requirements that they need to basically meet in order to qualify for operator node, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's really awesome. I did want to not lose that the background on Kanat. Can you give us a little bit of the explanation of the word Kanat and what it means? I believe it has a connection. You have a bit of background in Persian, culture. I'd love to hear a little bit of that before we dive into a bit more of the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Maybe Georg can also add some few points because he also goes through the history of Kanat. But let me try to explain how I come to this name. Again, as every parent knows, when you get your first child, they give you a lot of impact, and they give you so much trigger that you rethink your what you did in your life, and how you can be a role model for your children, right? And I raised up in Germany. I was 3 years old that we left Iran, and so I'm fully German. My DNA is also German, but I have Persian roots, to be honest. And at one point I thought, okay, when my daughter asked me about my history and about Iran and about the Persian culture, what would be your answer, right? And what I did a research, and when I make a research, I always interested in technology, and so I go deeper into the technology. What did Persia done 2,000 years ago? And I found out that they built water distribution systems under the ground, so that people on desert area are able to have water, fresh water, to live and to generate food, with this water and so on. And I was so proud of this technology because it's still remaining, it's still in use.
Oh, wow.
And it's 1,000 years old. And when you count all the distance of the pipes, the distance is is the same length like the Earth has a distance to the Moon. So many thousand kilometers.
Wow.
And I was so fascinated that people could develop a technology that is so old and so has so much impact in society life, that I thought, okay, this would be a great name for the idea to have a decentralized system where data flows. Yeah, data flows, and when data flows, people can generate money, or they can generate ideas, or they can connect to other people. And in our society, data is also important resource, like water is today also, and in the past. And so I decided to name my company in this project Kanat, because I think we do equal stuff. We want to develop technology not for us, not for our pocket, or to gain money. We want to change society in a positive manner. We want to secure the future of our children, and make it also worth to live in the future, and having a secure cyberspace, which we don't have it today, in my opinion. Yeah, this was
sure.
the idea. Yeah,
that's an admirable
maybe,
admirable goal for sure, and I love the connection there. Old 2,000-year-old water system that's still being used in Persia today is pretty fascinating. So very cool, and it's decentralized, and data's flowing just like water. So I love it. I love the analogy. I love the connection there. On your site, it says easy like iOS and safe like Bitcoin. I like that. Georg, I think you had some input on the mission and vision of Kanat, and what Ehsan's been sharing with us here.
Yes, I think Ehsan summed it up already amazingly. Makes a lot of sense that he's connecting there with his roots. And yeah, I like the idea that there's something coming from one source, and it's for the whole community, and it's distributed, and the community controls it, sustains it, and benefits of it. So I can really also relate with this metaphor, this vision, and I think it suits beautiful our mission and our project as well.
Awesome. So scrolling through the site here, I see another section saying, one global profile, one seamless platform, and it shows the wallet, right? And so I was curious, because I know, like you say, you're bridging kind of Web 2 and Web 3 and trying to make it as easy and usable as Web 2 is, but having the ownership of Web 3. And so, getting under the hood a little bit, like I say, in the nitty gritty, what is the blockchain component actually looking like? What is the wallet? I see it's a QNT is a kind of token that you're setting up for rewards, and, to allow for the system. Like you said, there's some level of value being put into the system, and then you also can get value out. And like you said, like in the current scenario where a lot of these apps seem to be free, the reality is that they're making a lot of money on your data and the additional data they get just from living on your phone, right? And so I think you're being very transparent about the fact that there will be some type of, payment or value required to basically jump on the network and use it. But then you also have the ability to actually get value out of, how your data is being used, and maybe even just the overall network being used, right? So before we get into too much of that, I'm curious, is it built on Ethereum? Is it its own kind of blockchain solution? What is that kind of base layer of how you're going to, move the QNT coin and these wallets are being set up? Are they like layer 2s on Ethereum? Because I know you mentioned scalability versus performance, and you kind of need both of those, right? You need that balance. So I know generally Ethereum tends to offer that scalability piece, at least. So I'm curious if that's the direction you've gone, or if you're working with a different blockchain, wanting to know how the blockchain component works for Kanat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can answer this question.
Okay.
So first of all, we were looking at different technologies to see which technology can serve our purpose the best. And we have identified like the blockchain, which I have been like in touch with for almost 10 years now, as a best practice for having transactions, not for the scalability of other use cases we are offering here with the WebXOS, but having it as a transaction layer. And therefore we decided to add the blockchain. And we built a infrastructure, that it can be added like modular, so we can exchange actually the blockchains. So at this point, we have not made a decision on which will be the first blockchain. We have already a blockchain, a private one, running in the background for our testing and to make the whole system work. But at this stage, we have not decided which layer 1 or which layer 2 we might add, and we will start soon conversations with the different projects. For sure, Ethereum is one project which suits very well. But there doesn't need to be one. So there is opportunity to add different blockchains to our infrastructure, to our architecture. And I think soon we will evaluate and go in conversations regarding this.
Okay.
Yes.
So we are very early then. You're still deciding which blockchain you're going to land on for the main QNT token, I guess. What does it look like?
Just add something. Sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
I think it's important to understand that the scalability is something we are conducting on the WebX side. So when I draw a picture, you have on the left side the WebX ecosystem, which is a decentralized network, right? Which is handling communication, data handling, routing, and so on. And it's also installed on your device, and each user has a private key, public key, and a unified ID, a user ID, and with this ingredients, the ownership is defined, right? And on the right side, you have a blockchain. So every time when a service and an application needs a transaction, or someone wants to sell something and someone wants to buy something, then the transaction is made. We use a blockchain to write it down, right? Because our goal was not to develop a new thing, like develop a new wheel. There are thousands of wheels we can use. So we said, okay, everyone trusts in blockchain regarding transactions of tokens. So we stick on this trust and use this, yeah. Okay. And so when you have a smart contract, this will happen on WebX OS, and only the transaction is running on the blockchain. So this is our idea, and this is what we implemented so far. So we have the ARC blockchain today. This is open source blockchain, okay. Which is running robust and is easy to implement. We have our own servers who running this blockchain, and what we did is a user can decide whether he wants to sell his data. We talked about nothing is priceless, right? Everything has its price. So, but in our system, the middleman is not there. Yeah, we eliminate the middleman. That means when you have you want to use a service or an application where the provider of this app says, okay, send me your data, and then you can use it. Yeah. So you buy the service via data, then you cannot sell it with our system. Or you can say, okay, I want to sell my data on the marketplace, and you can put it on the marketplace, and someone can buy it. Then always the Kana token will be the currency to handle this transaction and the contract, right? So this is the
exchange the value on WebX essentially between users.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
Okay. And so I guess the question becomes, what do you kind of view as the biggest hurdle to Canat? Obviously you're still doing some final testing and launching, but looking at the marketing side, looking at obviously you got to start somewhere, and ultimately it's a bit of a jump for people to see the value in a decentralized web OS, right? And so what do you kind of view as a team as the kind of major hurdle right now as you look to launch and go live and get more people on the network? Obviously you need more nodes to make the network work, and you want to have a good mix of, like you say, businesses and users who both can see the value in the platform. So maybe I'll throw it to Ehsan first, and then I'd love to hear Georg's thoughts as well. Like, what are the major kind of marketing hurdles that you've identified, and how are you kind of planning to grow the network effect like globally, really, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. Not easy to answer because the market is changing rapidly and fast, especially with AI. And
Sure.
if you had asked me 1 year ago, then I would say people do not understand why ownership of data is important. Today, I believe more people understand this, especially when you look at deep fakes, what AI can do, right? And the victims always have to prove that this is a deep fake and not vice versa.
Right.
And so there are a lot of use cases or scenarios which is coming into reality, where people see, okay, ownership and this stuff is important. But anyway, I think the B2C market is not easy to tackle, to get a market entry, because people are using or are locked in the Web 2.0 platforms. They have their friends on Meta or Facebook, Instagram. They have their influencer where they follow, and they have a lot of content generated there. And so they're a little bit addicted to the system.
Yeah.
And also the dopamine shots you get with scrolling is really high. Yeah. So and you build also in the last, I would say, 10 years or 5 years, your own micro society on these platforms, right? So it's not easy to break this or to give them a trigger. Hey, there's something which is maybe better. I think to go into B2B market is easier for us, because when you look at the US government and with the Cloud Act or AI Act, many companies, especially from Europe, are afraid that their data will be handed over to the US government, and they have disadvantages because of this transparency or this leak of data. They require solutions where they have more control. Yeah. So what we are doing is we're building a bridge, a golden bridge for this sector or market. That means our narrative is not leave everything you had in Web 2.0 and come to us. We say we help you to get more ownership and control in the Web 2.0 world. That means it's easy. You can install our WebX OS on your device. It's just an installer. On Windows, you make a double click on the file and then it gets installed, and everything is magic. And you can, for example, you can connect to the Google Drive or OneDrive, for example, and encrypt everything you have there with your private key. And you have user management on our side. So also the user management will be abstracted from this platform. So you still remain your data on your services on this provider, but you have more control. And this is a step-by-step approach. Maybe next 1, 2 years, 3 years, where people or companies learn with us together how they can increase the data or the digital sovereignty, and what kind of solutions they can use of WebX to get more control of their data. So this is what we want to go. Then I think B2C market needs more time and more maturity in people's minds, that data ownership is really important, and maybe a way where they get their dopamine addiction fulfilled. In case of peer-to-peer marketing, for example, is a buzzword in our discussion, that you can sell your data directly to companies who needs the data. So you see on your phone, hey, I have $2-3 earned in the last 2 minutes or 5 minutes. I think this is the future where the middlemen get completely eliminated. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you brought up a lot of good points there, and I think that that is a pitch for sure, as far as the ownership becoming more well known, that it matters, right? And the idea that yeah, and I think that differentiation between B2B, where I think there'd be even more importance put on the ownership of the data for sure, versus the B2C, where you're up against those dopamine hustlers. So I'm curious, like, but you mentioned, like, once you're on WebEx, in theory, could you not still then go to an Instagram or a Facebook on your WebEx and still get those dopamine hits? You just, maybe the data is a little bit more well protected. Is that still an option, or is it like basically those platforms won't let you function on a platform like WebEx due to the data limitations?
Yeah, depends. I think. Of course, this is a huge market for us to provide those people who are logged in this platform's solution, where they can where they have more control over the data, because there are a lot of people like influencer, or let's look into OnlyFans, for example, where content is the main thing that they sell, right? No matter what kind of content, and but the platform are not so good in secure this data, right? So you always hear from. I was in Helsinki in the Slush Summit, where the founder of the OnlyFans told us what kind of problems they have, that a lot of users complain that their data gets stolen, and will launch into a secondary market or some in other pages for free, and this is an income loss, right? And I think with WebEx OS, it's easy to give them a better solution. Maybe also for the provider of these platforms, give them a solution where their user have more confidence and more secure over the data. Because this data is an asset for them, So I see a lot of potential in this section.
Okay. Okay. So that's pretty interesting. And so there could be, in theory, a context where if you want to protect your data but still use some of these platforms, jump onto the platform through WebEx and have more security over how your data is being managed, and sure. Still be able to use some of these, whether it's an OnlyFans or an Instagram. So I think that's interesting. I'm curious, and maybe Georg, you can tackle this, but is the WebEx browser live at all yet? Do you have an ETA on like when that would be, something that you want to have users start to jump on and create nodes? What is that looking like? And I'm pretty interested. What you were mentioning, what came to my mind is the Brave browser, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Obviously not full data ownership at all, but they do at least have a certain layer of advertisements and being able to monetize the advertisements, and they don't give your data out to just anybody who you connect with on the internet, right? So they did a little bit of that, but I don't know if you're familiar with Brave browser or if there's any comparison there. But is the WebEx going to be live in market, relatively soon? What does that look like?
Before Georg answer this question, sorry, Georg, I have to correct one thing. We are not a browser.
Right.
We are
more than a browser. Yeah.
We are running. We can run in the browser, but we also have a desktop app. And what is important is that we handle also the local storage of the device. So we have an IoT stack where we control the RAM, the CPU, the GPU, also the SSD drive, and we develop our own data format to store data and so on. So we are not only going up into the cloud, we're also going down into the device. So we are a bridge between your device and the operating system and to the web world. And when you look at the horizontal layer, this is vertical. Horizontal, we are having a decentralized network where with our WebEx OS, people can connect and build application services completely independent of what kind of operating system is under WebEx OS or what kind of Web 2.0 services are provided. So it is important. This is more complex than we think, and in future it will also be developed in this way that we have a Linux distribution made by our own, where WebXOS is a native application or native implemented with Linux, and then people can install this package on their naked device. Right. This is the next step we want to go.
Okay.
But let Georg
important differentiation there, as far as, you know, WebEx is more than a browser. It is actually an application layer that you start up, and then it does have some browser functionality as well as wallet functionality and all that. So yeah, Georg, what does it look like? What's the pitch to the market out there? People who are listening to this and are like, wow, this sounds fascinating. I want to go poke around on WebEx right now. You know, what does that look like?
Yes, yeah, already great explanation from Ehsan. And maybe you can also show the public this architecture I have mentioned before, which is in the newest article we have published on our blog, because it gives a good insight in how it looks visually, so people can understand it maybe a little bit more.
Got it up on the screen now.
Ah, okay, amazing. Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I think what's important to understand in this moment is that right now we have a software which can be installed in your computer, and it gives you the same feeling and the same features you're used already from the existing systems. As I have it in the background, maybe you can see it already. Otherwise, jump on our website. It's demoed there, and it's really like feels like coming home with regards to your computer. We have like the desktop. We have the different applications. You can install applications, you can delete applications, and you have all these settings, dark mode, light mode, and everything you're used to from your existing system. And this was very important to us. And we offer this whole setting for free. So because this is also, I think, something you asked in a few questions before, everything comes with a cost. In the easiest version with the core applications, it's completely free for the user. And so our business model is to earn fees when transactions are happening. But we provide the benefits and the whole digital sovereignty for everyone. We make it accessible for free. And at the moment, we are still in the development phase and testing phase, but we have scheduled our beta release for Q2, for the second quarter of this year. And we are well on the roadmap to deliver also this date. So I can encourage everybody or invite everyone to jump on our website, sign up for the beta release to be one of the first person who can download the software, who can test it, and also give us feedback, because also the feedback will shape what WebXOS will become.
Awesome. So Q2 2026, so that's right around the corner. And what would you say as kind of a pitch for those of us who want to get that early access on the beta? Is there a beta kind of reward structure? Is there, because I know the QNT or the Quant wallet and the token are kind of an important piece of this as well, right? And starting to build out the network effect. So I'm just wondering, like, you said it's free to use, but would there still have this kind of reward structure built into it from the jump? Or is that something that would be kind of released a little bit later, but maybe people's activity on the platform is, logged and kept track of for future reward structure or something like that? Just curious for, how the Web3 folks like to know with what's going on with the rewards or airdrops or any of that kind of stuff, if there's any of that involved.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have discussed this in the team, and things about this will be announced also coming closer to the beta release. But I can give already some insights here, like firsthand on this podcast. So we are planning. Ehsan mentioned the nodes and the licenses you need to run certain nodes where you can secure the network and also benefit of the network of the transactions. So we will hand out, or we will reserve a part of these nodes to hand them out to the people who have been early in our system and have been contributed through testing, giving feedback, or just using the system. So there will be a raffle or something. We have to lay out the structure and announce it. And also when people explore, for example, renting out storage space or computing power, the transactions are happening and the people can already earn like test tokens. And there will be some way how to convert these test tokens to the real tokens later, or do some raffle or some certain kind of advantage, benefits the users can gain. And in more detail, we will announce this later. But for sure, we are thinking about the community. We value the community a lot, and we want the people to engage and also benefit from it in different ways.
Very cool, very cool. And then what does the community kind of look like right now? It sounds like there's probably a lot of devs, a lot of the diehard Web3 advocates maybe. What does it look like now, and what's kind of the roadmap for that community and building out the community?
Yeah, good question. I think this would have been something to answer a few questions before when you said where's the hardest part, where are the hurdles, because I'm responsible for the community also in my role. And I was super excited about crypto and blockchain like in 2017 and the years after, but have been a little bit disappointed what the crypto space or Web3 space has delivered over the last years and what it has become. The involvement of certain actors and a lot of scams and a lot of everything only about the money. So I feel and I experience it's very hard to stick out now from these kind of thousands of projects with thousands of promises and not delivering. And so we are trying to build a community where people really understand the solution. They can connect with the vision, and they really want to participate and believe in the vision. And at the moment, we are growing our community in the Discord, so everybody's also invited to join us there, to join the discussions, be part of it, ask questions, and as well on X. Right now, it's still like not too big. I think on X we have around 300 people, and the same around this or that in Discord. But we have a lot of people who are already like very excited about the mission and the vision, and they are taking out these ideas into the world. And yeah, we are excited for new people who want to join with all kind of backgrounds. So we are very open to all nationalities, to all regions in the world, and to all kind of skills. So at the moment, we have a lot of people who are creators, who like to create content. We are already speaking to some third-party developers because we have the opportunity to develop apps on our platform and launch them there. And so everybody's welcome to ask questions, to join, and to participate in this project and this idea. And yeah, our doors are very open there.
Nice. Yeah, no, I definitely resonate with what you're saying as far as some of the space. I was dabbling in crypto going back to like 2017-ish, but I really like fell in love with it in early 2021 when I saw a lot of artists, putting their art on the blockchain and then having people like myself support them by collecting their art. And then that money, would go spread out into their communities and make real impact. And that still happens today, but unfortunately the narrative has kind of gotten lost. And like you say, there is a lot of what I would say bad actors and people just trying to pump their bags and take their profits and then run away, right? So with that, I think, there's been a lot of a shift in the sentiment. So I'm glad you kind of raised that, because that's why we try to talk to projects like yours that's not just trying to sell some pie in the sky idea, but is actually doing the groundwork and taking the time to build out a genuine project that's got a genuine solution for a very real pressing issue, which is data usage on the internet and how we can actually create some kind of data sovereignty. I'm wondering, Ehsan, do you have any thoughts on that as far as the crypto space in general and how you feel about kind of Web3 as a community right now, and how we can maybe push back against some of the bad actors in the space, and how projects like yours might help redefine that narrative?
Yeah, interesting. I think my picture of Web3 is, or my current picture is, there's a lot of focus on marketing, less on operation. So I think for the community, it would be great to understand which kind of projects are really realistic and have a really realistic real life impact and chance, and they do not listen too much into buzzwords and very, very nice made landing pages and pitch decks. I think what counts is a product. And every time when we make a real life demo and people see this at the first time, they say, "Well, wow, it's working." So they're really surprised, and I'm also surprised why they're surprised, because I'm coming from a business where is it clear a car has to run on the street at the end, and no marketing paper would help to be successful. So I think it's really important for Web3 to get more confidence and to not to be just a trend or hype, to bring really good product on the street. And this was why we did not put our efforts into marketing so much, what we did in the last 2 years is coding. I also am a coder, and together with the other developer in our teams, we have nearly 100 years of experience when you count it together.
Nice.
And each of us is 15 or 20 years in business, and doing this every day. So we also know the real life problems from the industry and from professional use cases. So I think what also a submission from us is to help the Web3 to get more confidence from the society, to prove that we are together as a community, something where people can rely on, right?
100%.
So this is what I want to say. Yeah.
Amazing. No, I love that messaging, and I think it's important to try to be, a genuine voice in the space, and we need more and more of them for sure. So on the question of, how people can get involved, I think you alluded to it, Georg. There's the beta sign up right on the website at canat.io. So go check out the website at canat.io and sign up for the beta. So when the WebEx is ready to go, you'll get notified. Also, if you go to the contact section on canat.io and you scroll to the bottom, you can find their Discord link down there as well. So, you can try to join the Discord and stay connected with the platform. I think I've been looking for something like this, frankly. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, there's been a lot of conversation about data sovereignty and the idea that blockchain combined with, of course, all kinds of innovative software programming, essentially, that may or may not be Web 2 versus Web 3. But altogether, there is a solution here to be had around, pushing back on the way that data is being used or misused more accurately, frankly, especially over these last 2 years, and some of the conversations we see happening around data and, surveillance states using data, what I would say inappropriately. It's kind of crazy, right? So everybody check out the website, go to canat.io, get signed up for sure. I'm curious from your perspective, maybe I'm wrong, and do you see a lot of other kind of DApp being built out that are, really as focused and as kind of committed to, creating a data sovereign world for people on the internet? Are there other dApps that are comparable? Do you have any other Web3 blockchain related programs or platforms that have built out a similar solution to what you're doing? Or maybe the better question is, are you collaborating with any other kind of data sovereignty Web3 entities to help you kind of bring this to fruition? Either one of you.
To be honest, hard to say. We were last year in Singapore on the summit. What was the name again, Georg?
Token 2049.
Yeah,
49
exactly.
Or whatever.
Yeah, and we talk a lot of with a lot of projects, and everyone does cool stuff. But at the end, it's always about currency and wallets or exchanges.
Right.
So it was really hard to find someone who makes really real life cases. So I cannot say if there's someone else out there who's doing the same stuff like we do. On marketing level, yes, a lot of people tackling this stuff, but on doing really a product with, as we said, it's easy like iOS and safe like Bitcoin. This is not just a marketing slogan. This is real. Again, you download the software, you install it. It's working on your Windows machine or Linux machine and Mac, and you don't have you don't need any development skills or no Git account, etc. It's just working, right? And I till today I did not I cannot find some solution like this. But anyhow, this is maybe just my perspective, and I don't know anything on this earth what is happening. So when there's someone in the community who doing like the same stuff, reach out to us. Let's see, let's make a team.
Make that connection for you for sure.
Yeah, please contact us.
No, I mean it's amazing. I've always been thinking, like, when it comes to this question of data sovereignty with the blockchain, it's a killer dApp that's going to really make that a reality, right? And maybe WebEx can be that killer dApp that we really need to, help push this thing forward, right? I don't know if you've got thoughts on that, Georg, as far as like obviously there's some competition, but I think to what Ehsan said, there's a lot of people claiming to be, using crypto for data sovereignty here and there, but then there's a huge investment and there's always some kind of like monetary angle that seems to be more important than the actual hardware or software that's providing the solution, right? So what do you think about that, Georg? And like, is there anything you've seen that, gives you encouragement that, the space more broadly is moving in this right direction?
Yeah, I'm scanning the market regularly for newer projects or friends of mine who know that what I'm working for, sending me links when they find new projects. And yeah, like Ehsan said, sometimes it's just the marketing side and we cannot see the project or the product, and it's not so easy to evaluate for us how serious they are or what's really behind them. But I'm happy that a lot of people are tackling this problem and bringing solutions, and we are very open to have different conversations to inspire each other or work together. And what we are doing is not just the app, it's a whole ecosystem where all kind of apps can be installed and developed. So it's a little bit like back then I always heard Vitalik saying, okay, Ethereum is this platform and we don't know yet what people will build on it, what kind of fantastic use cases. And this is also true for our ecosystem, but we have a complete different architecture and a different use case. And we offer the main capabilities and the core features which guarantee like certain quality for all the apps which are developed on our platform. And I haven't seen this so far somewhere else. And I'm very excited and curious what people will build on our system and how the ecosystem will flourish in the future then.
Amazing. Decentralized ecosystem. And I like the comparison to Ethereum, even though you've made the case that you're kind of keeping the options open when it comes to that blockchain. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you said it's going to be a bit of a plug and play where you could actually connect almost any kind of blockchain wallet to it. So it is fairly blockchain agnostic, as we like to say. We're not picking sides. You can kind of just connect any wallet you need to it, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. I know we've kind of hit the 1 hour mark here, and I think we've done a pretty good deep dive. Happy to discuss any other points that we may not have highlighted yet. So you've mentioned the beta coming out in Q2 2026. Clearly, that's a big goal that's around the corner for your team. Is there anything else you want to share with us that we should be looking forward to? What's Canat working on, and how everybody can kind of help push things forward if they want to get involved and support? Maybe over to Ehsan first, and then we'll go to Georg. But yeah, what's next for Canat, and how can we help you out?
Yeah, I think it would be great when people join our beta to test this and give us feedback. And again, it's really easy to use a product. It's easy to install. It's not important that we have a developer to test our product. This is what we're doing every day. We build out our CI/CD pipeline. We are doing hundreds of autonomous unit tests and so on. So it's really high professional what we are doing. But we at the end we need the vast majority of people, a big diversity of people who are using our application, from the grandpa, from the grandma and children's, etc. You name it, yeah. All kind of people, all kind of religions they have or where they come from, to get a good view of what people need and what do they understand, and what is maybe a little bit too complicated to use, that we can adjust this and just give us feedback. Use our product. This is what we need. Yeah, a lot of feedback.
Awesome. I can't wait to use it, honestly. And I do think, going back to that question around the marketing and the hurdles, protect your data, own your data is going to be your biggest slogan, I think, especially given the scenario now. Like you said, maybe a year ago, it would have been less kind of everyone's like, oh yeah, whatever. But now with the AI and the robots and the crazy, scary wars happening all over the world that are using our data as well, I think now's the time to really be like, we have a solution. Let's go. Like, protect your data, jump on WebEx. So that's exciting. Georg, what do you think as far as what's next for Canat, and what can we look forward to, and how do we help out?
Yeah. So I'm also excited when people join our community, not only for testing purpose. Of course, it's great if everybody from the community will also test, which will help us a lot, and which will also give the people a nice insight in what we are really doing. But I'm also very happy for everyone who just joins the conversations. We are really available to talk. We are still a small team, and already it's so nice because I like to work with people, and already the diversity of people, of team members is already great. And also I'm seeing this more and more in the community. And we are really have open doors to engage with these people and develop ideas together, if it's an application or something or anything. I'm seeing projects here and there which having great use cases and even great funding, and which I think, okay, this can be easily done on Canat. It's just one feature, and we have the platform already ready. So people can really jump in and be creative and take back control. And I'm excited for the next month, for the years to come. We are also on different conferences, so if people want to meet us in person, just have a chat with us on Discord. We are very happy to engage and to get new perspectives and see people building things which benefit all.
Awesome. Well, we'll be watching. I don't suppose you'll be at the Blockchain Futurist Conference, would you, in Toronto? Coming up in July, I believe. But if you are, I will be there. It's our biggest blockchain conference in Canada. So I don't know if it made it on your radar, but if you can make it out, it'd be cool to connect. And, definitely being at those conferences and promoting your platform is a big part of it as well, for sure. I will be promoting it. I'll be happy to promote Canat for anyone talking data sovereignty. So really look forward to it. It was amazing meeting both of you. Any final words before we wrap up here from either of you?
Yeah, to the community out there, let's change the world for a better future for our children and for the next generations. I think it's really important that we do not think about ourselves, what is beneficial for us, also what is beneficial or what kind of good foundation we have to build for the next generations. This is our responsibility. And it's not always about making money. It's also about changing the future in a better way. So
I love that.
Join us, do it together.
Let's go. Georg, any final thoughts?
Yes, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has listened to this podcast, giving his time and energy, and also to you, David, to giving us this stage and with all your curiosity. And also, I know you have done quite a work before, checking the white paper, the website, going through our demos. So big thanks to you for preparing this podcast so we can have such a good flow. And I hope we will be here again soon and with a lot of new development, excitement news.
Yeah, we'd love to catch up with you after it's been in the market for a little bit, and then we can touch base and see, maybe there'll be a new call to action for our listeners. And I really do appreciate it. Like you said, sometimes you get these kind of pitches and you're like, I got to look under the hood a little bit. And you got the platform, you got the demo, you got the white paper, you got all these blog posts that have really great information about data sovereignty and how we can build this out. So it was very clear that it is a real, genuine project that's got a really awesome vision and mission for the future. So Ehsan, I really appreciate what you're saying as far as impact and generational impact, which is really what blockchain and crypto in general has always, claimed to be about. So hopefully we're bringing that out, and all we can do is keep pushing forward and trying. So to all of our listeners out there, thank you for tuning in. Hope you found a lot of value in this conversation about data sovereignty and Web3. And until next time, we'll catch you in the metaverse. Take care. Peace out.
Bye. Thank you.